So watching the Penguins lose in overtime to the Flyers in Philadelphia sucked for me without a doubt. But it didn't suck for you because I bet on the Flyers, right? So I hit the Flyers. That ended up being great in terms of cashing a ticket on your end. I won't deny it was awful for me. The game was torture. It was unbelievable. 0-0 all the way through the overtime. And then the Flyers scored. But the bottom line is this: it got crazier than that. We had the Canadians plus a buck and a half, plus a buck 50 to win in Tampa, and they did 3-2. We had the Royals A's under 10 and a half. That cashed, boom. And then we lost on that Vegas double overtime shorthanded goal by the Knights. We had the Mammoth. Oh my God, they had a power play in the second overtime and they give the puck up and get scored on. That was a terrible beat. And the Lakers lost at home, laying 4 to the Rockets. The Rockets are still alive. Mickey hit a bet on the over strikeouts for Glasnow, so the profit cashed. And then 2 of his bets in the max profit arena were washouts, rainouts. So we ended up going 4-2 on the night, and I'll take that every time. Let's see what happened. In terms of the Flyer game winner, it was Cam York at 17:32 of overtime, and they went crazy in Philly. The Flyers are set for a second round showdown with Carolina, where they'll lose. Vladar was unbelievable in that, 42 saves, and he prevented the Penguins from having a shot at history by going home for a Game 7 and trying to win it. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins tried to become the 5th team in history to win a series after trailing 3-0. They won 2 straight to force the Game 6, but they lost. I never felt good about it. That's why I bet on the Flyers on Profitable.tv. Toggett said, it's been a long time. I know there's been a lot of frustration. Sheloff's made 31 saves. Crosby skated over and consoled the goalie on the ice as the Flyers were singing songs and everything else. The last playoff game that headed to overtime scoreless was Winnipeg and Edmonton in 2021 in a first-round series. The Jets won that game 1-0 in the first overtime. The Flyers are in the playoffs for the first time since 2020. Now they're very excited. Shelovs, who allowed 4 goals per game over his last 10 starts of the regular season, steadied the Penguins in place of Stuart Skinner with wins in games 4 and 5 and played like a Vezina winner in game 6. Mitchkov was scratched in game 5. He got back in the lineup, determined to be a difference maker. He had a great chance in the second period on a breakaway, but was stopped. The game was insane. There's nothing else to say. I'll give you more information about the Penguins' Big 3 coming up. Flyers get it done like they always do against the Penguins in the playoffs. I'll also tell you their history against them later. I just started with that, so I might as well stick to the hockey. Montreal gets it done at that plus 150 for us. Texier broke a tie 106 into the third, and the Canadians stunned Tampa 3-2 to take a 3-2 lead in the series. Dovish stopped 38 shots, helped Montreal move within 1 win of advancing for the first time since losing to the Lightning in the Cup Finals in 21. Gallagher scored first. Tampa tied it. Doc scored 11 seconds later to give them the lead back. Then they gave that up again, but they win it 3-2. Game 6 is Friday night in Montreal, where the team split games 3 and 4. All 5 games have been decided by 1 goal. Remember that when you're betting, including overtime in the first 3 games. James scored his first career playoff goal for the Lightning. Gensel scored as well. Tampa Bay has lost 10 of its last 12 home games in the postseason despite 460 consecutive sellouts. And as far as that crazy game late night, the nightcap, Brett Howden with the shorty at 5:28 of the second overtime gives the Knights a 5-4 win over the Mammoth to put the Knights 1 win away from winning the first round series. They got it done in Sin, set it up. I got a hub, beautiful day in Las Vegas on the Strip. at T-Mobile. The Knights take a 3-2 lead in their best of 7 on Friday night. They'll play in Salt Lake Shakers. Unbelievable game. Eichel said it was a huge game by Dorofeyev's 6-on-5 goal, 52 seconds left in regulation, forced overtime, gave him his 6th playoff hat trick in franchise history, and had 2 goals in 13 career playoff games before this one. The guy went off. Neither team scored in the first overtime. The first time in the series that either team failed a period to hit the back of the net and score. Shea Theodore has a goal and an assist in this game. Eichel had 2 assists. Carter Hart stopped 34 shots. Marino, Krause, Genther scored for the Mammoth, and Keller had 2 assists. And their goalie, Vejmelka, made 31 saves. Utah rallied in the third period when Gauthier tied it at 5:54 on a rush play, and Sarcone on a 2-on-1 with 7:18 left. Both teams have continued to struggle on the power play, going a combined 1 for 10. Vegas also has 2 shorthanded goals in the series, both from Howden, and that was the winner last night. Huge game for the Knights. They lead the series. Salt Lake will be rocking for game 6. They have to win. We'll see if they can get it done. The Flyers, they didn't have to win game 6, but they did. Let's see if the Mammoth can get it done on their home ice in the next game. Let's go to the NBA. The Pistons had to win, and they did. 116-109. Cade Cunningham went off. He scored a playoff record for the franchise, 45 points, including a step back Jay with 32 seconds left. And the Pistons beat the 8-seeded Magic. They didn't cover, but they won in Game 5 to stave off elimination. Orlando leads the series 3-2 and will get a second chance to advance at home on Friday night, tomorrow night. The Magic 0-10 in franchise history on the road in a Game 5. Jesus. Detroit never trailed belly to belly and went ahead by 15 early in the final quarter. They spread it to 15. Magic made one more run, pulling within 3 on Banchero's 6th three-pointer with a minute left. Banchero matched Cunningham with 45, but he missed 7 of 12 free throws. Doink at the line. The Pistons are able to bounce back from elimination as they did against the Magic I guess it was about 20 years ago. Detroit's comeback in 2003 as the number 1 seed against Orlando was the first of 7 times NBA teams have come back from a 3-1 deficit. Franz Wagner was sidelined with a strained right calf. He had 19 and 2+ quarters before he departed late in the third on Monday night and averaged 17 points and 5.5 rebounds when he played. Cunningham was 13 of 23 from the field, making a playoff career high 5 threes. He was 14 for 14 from the stripe. Harris had 23 for the Pistons. Duran snapped out of his slump with 12 and 9 boards. Duncan Robinson also had 12. Anthony Black, a playoff career high 19 points. Bain had 18. Suggs had 10 for the Magic. Huge win for Detroit. How about Toronto? They gave Cleveland all they could handle, but the Cavs got it done. Dennis Schroeder scored 11 of his 19 in the fourth quarter. Mobley hit a pair of huge threes. The big man jacking from outside. Cavs rallied for a 125-120 win over the Raptors. They win it by 5. They don't cover. The 8.5. Cleveland leads the series 3-2. Game 6 is Friday night in Toronto. Harden had 23 and Mitchell 19 for the Cavs. You usually don't see Spida with 19. Barrett had 25 for the Raps. Jacoby Walter had 20. Jamal Sheed had 18 off of the bench. Remember, he played at Houston in college. Raptors led 74-67 at the break. Scored the first 5 points of the third quarter, but the Cavs rallied. They still trailed 103-100 going into the fourth. They took control there. They scored the first 8 points of the fourth. Tyson hit a step-back 3 to make it 103 all, and a 3 by Mobley gave them their first lead at 106-103. Toronto missed its first 11 shots and was 7 of 28 from the field in the fourth, while Cleveland made 7 of its first 11 and was 9 of 19. So they lead that series 3-2. It'll go back to Toronto for game 6. They'll have to win at home north of the border. Coffee break. Now, what about the Lakers? They had a chance to win the series last night. They had Reeves back. Fail. They didn't get it done. Jabari Smith had 22. Easton had 18. The Rockets avoided elimination for the second straight game. They win by 6, 99-93. And they take game 5 at the Crypt in Lipstick City, trimming the Lakers' lead to 3-2. Şengün had 14, 9 boards, 8 assists for the Rockets, who send the series back to Houston for game 6 tomorrow night, Friday night. Houston has won 2 straight, even without Kevin Durant, who has missed 4 of the 5 games in the series. He's got all kinds of injury problems. No team has ever recovered from an 0-3 deficit to win an NBA playoff series. The Rockets are trying to pull it off. Only 4 of the 159 teams, 159, to start a series down 0-3 have ever even forced a game 7. So usually, if they start coming back, they still lose in 6. Only 4 teams have ever made it to a game 7, and nobody's ever done it. LeBron had 17 of his 25 in the second half. They lost it second straight after stealing game 3 with a rally in the final seconds of regulation. James' teams have never blown a 2-0 series lead in his entire 23-year career. Reeves had 22 and 6 in his return from a 9-game injury absence for the Lakers, but they committed 15 huge turnovers, and they didn't look good at all. That's it. LA awoke for a late 11-1 run and trimmed Houston's lead to 3 on a driving layup by James, but Reed Shepard hit a jumper before a steal that James was going in to dunk, and he had a steal with 2:20 to play. Anyway, Houston gets it done. Ayton had 18 and 17 boards for the Lakers. They still don't have Luka. He's got injury problems, hamstring problems, you name it. All right, let's do baseball. Cleveland 3-1 over Tampa. DeLauder's 2-run single won it for him. In 10, the White Sox beat the Angels 3-2. How about this? The rookie Sam Ananachi hits a triple, a tying triple with 2 outs in the 9th. And then Colton Montgomery had a winning single in the 10th for the Chi Sox on the south side. Seattle 5-3 over Minnesota. Cole Young, 3 late RBIs to lead the M's past the Twins at Target. Texas and Eovaldi beat the Yankees 3-0. He went 7 strong innings. Toronto 8-1 over Boston. Clement hit a 2-run shot, and Valenzuela hit a solo shot for the Jays in Toronto. Miami took the series at Dodger Stadium. They won 3-2. Shanoa singled in the go-ahead run with 2 outs in the 8th for the Fish. Cubs 5-4 over the Padres at Petco. Pete Crow Armstrong homers and drives in 3 of the 5 Cub runs. Colorado blasted the Reds 13-2. Goodman hits 2 home runs. Sagano goes 5 1/3 scoreless for the Rockies. St. Louis 5-4 over the Pirates. In the bottom of the 9th, a home run taken away at the wall. Church robbing Gonzalez of what would have been a walk-off homer for the Bucks, and the Cards hold on 5-4 with that great defensive play. Washington 14-2 all over the Mets. Brady House hits a grand slam breakfast. Second one's $1. The Braves beat the Tigers 4-3. Matt Olson's 2-run shot in the 9th walks it off for the Bravos. Arizona 6-2 over the Brewers in Milwaukee. They hit 4 home runs, and Arenado a 3-run shot. Vargas extended his hitting streak to 25 games. You got to be kidding me. I didn't even know that was going on. We cashed that ticket with the under in the Kansas City A's game in Sacramento. It was 10.5. It finished 5-2 A's. Butler homers. Kurtz extends his walk streak to 18 games. 18 games in a row he's had a walk. San Francisco, Philly, Houston, Baltimore, both rained out. Those were both profit bets. So he ended up going 1-0. I told you with the glass now, over in strikeouts. The number was 7. He hit it because the guy had 9. So that helped us finish 4-2 in terms of tickets. Let's look at today. What's going down? The Knicks and Hawks play a huge game in Atlanta. New York's up 3-2 in the series. Atlanta's getting 2.5, 213.5 is the number. 7 o'clock on ESPN. 8 o'clock, Boston and Philly in for Philadelphia. The Sixers are still alive, down 3-2, getting 5.5, 212.5 is the number. And the nightcap on ESPN is Denver at Minnesota at the Target in Minneapolis. Minnesota's up 3-2 in the series. They just got their ass kicked in Game 5. This is Game 6. The T-Wolves are getting 5.5, 224.5 is the number. Day ball, 12:15, Detroit at Atlanta. Valdez against the elder statesman in Atlanta. 12:35, Houston and Baltimore. Jack Lambert against the Basset Hound. 12:35, St. Louis and Pittsburgh. Dobbins against Skeens Day. Skeens is on the bump. 12:35, San Francisco and Philly. Game 1. Logan spinning a web against Dirty Sanchez. It was supposed to go down yesterday. 12:40, Colorado and Cincinnati. Lorenzen against Abbott and Costello. 1:10, Washington at the Mets at Citi Field. It's a shitty day in New York. Cold, wet. Mikolas against Peralta. 1:40, Arizona at Milwaukee. Soroka against Woodruff. 3:05, Kansas City and the A's in Sacktown. Cameron Diaz against Springwater. Houston and Baltimore, Game 2. I already told you about Lambert and Bassett in Game 1. Early, the 4:05 game, both in the afternoon, is McCullers and Young. Forever Young. And the second game, San Francisco and Philly at the Bank. Doogie Howser against Painter. And then one night game, Toronto and Minnesota in Minneapolis. It's Gosman against Obi-Wan Kenobi. 2 Stanley Cup games. The Wild in St. Paul. It's going to be rocking in Minnesota. You got a baseball game, you got a basketball game, and you got a hockey game, and that's an eliminator. The Wild are up 3-2 on the Stars, and they can win the series. It's on TNT at 7:30. Minnesota's favored minus $1.23. 5.5 is the total. The nightcap on TNT is Edmonton and Anaheim. Same thing here on the pond. The Ducks can eliminate the Oilers. The Oilers kicked their ass in Game 5, 4-1 in Edmonton to stay alive. Anaheim is still a dog. Oilers minus $1.32. The total is 7 goals in this game tonight in Anaheim. It's time to do Fast Forward for All in Your Facial, where we do all the stories that matter and even ones that don't. David Allan Coe, a country legend, the singer who wrote the blue-collar song, Take This Job and Shove It, is dead at 86. I just want to see if I can play this thing and see if I can play this game winner.
20 seconds left on this Utah power play. Vegas off ice, an aggressive stance. Steal by Howden. Scores!
That was it in double overtime. You gotta love it. He got it done. The shorty, his second shorty of the series. And Vegas will head to Utah for Game 6, like I said, with a chance to clinch. When you look at the Flyers, they're now 5-3 all-time against the Penguins in the playoff. In 89, they beat them 4-3. In 97, they beat them 4-1. In 2000, they beat them 4-2. Penguins won in 08, 4-1. In 09, they beat them 4-2. The Penguins lost in the Stanley Cup final to the Red Wings in 08, beat the Red Wings in the final in 09. That was their third cup. In 2012, the Flyers beat them 4-2. In 2018, the Penguins beat them 4-2. And in 26, of course, last night, they lost the series 4-2. So the question begs, is that it for the big three? If it is, it's been a hell of a run. You can't even argue it. All the fans in Philly can yell all they want at Sidney Crosby. They can fucking scream and talk shit about him. Their players can talk. Hathaway can talk shit with his worthless fucking career. You heard me. He's never done shit. He's a bum, and they even scratched his ass for Game 6. All he does is get in people's faces, play dirty, talk shit, get in people's faces, but he's never amounted to a hill of fucking beans. Here's the big three. 3 Stanley Cups, 3,924 games combined, 3,974 points combined, 1,365 goals. Crosby, Letang, and Malkin, they're all Hall of Famers. They have 3 rings, 3 cups. I mean, it's like not even over there when you think about it. 3 Conn Smythes, that's the best in the playoffs. And 3 Harts, that's the MVP for the year. Malkin's done it twice and Crosby's done it. I mean, these guys, 20 years together. The longest tenured trio in North American pro sports. So, congratulations to the Flyers, but shut the fuck up. They're not winning the Stanley Cup. I'll fucking guarantee it. They haven't won it since 75, and they won't win it. They won't win the series against Carolina either. If they do, I'll keel over. A Mississippi man charged with killing his mother. Then he, this is great, flushed her remains down the toilet. How do you even do that? I mean, how do you kill somebody and then somehow figure out a way to chop her up enough to get her to go down the toilet? Get rid of the remains, just flush it away. It didn't go well for him. He's finished. He's going to jail for the rest of his life. I love this story. A glamorous J.P. Morgan executive accused of turning a married male broker in her office into her sex slave. She made him take Viagra, and there were litanies of obscene forced acts that made him cry. She apparently and allegedly must like dick because she was making him do all kinds of kinky shit and fuck her all the time at the office. She had the power game going on him. She was like his boss. Meanwhile, the guy was married and he knew he'd lose his job. I love it. Viagra and kinky sex acts. And now I've already seen thousands of people are applying for her job because she's going to get fired. Vladdy Guerrero has been a hit machine this season. There's no getting around it. How about he's hitting .358, first in baseball, and he's tied for first in baseball in hits with 39 hits already. That's crazy. John Garrett. You may not know him, but he's a longtime Vancouver Canuck broadcaster. He died suddenly at 74. Rest in peace, John. George Pickens of the Cowboys finally signed his franchise tag, and it's valued at $27.3 million. He's still miserable. He wants a long-term deal. Nobody will give it to him. The Steelers wouldn't give it to him. The Cowboys won't give it to him. And it's because he's a prima donna asshole. Even though he's like one of the best receivers in the NFL, hands down. He was the best player on the Steelers. CeeDee Lamb's as good as Pickens. They're both great, and the Cowboys should give him a long-term deal, and they'd have 2 great young receivers just killing it. And maybe they'd win a Super Bowl again. But instead, they fuck with this guy. They're making him a tag, and then he signs it. He doesn't want to play on a tag, so he's going to be a miserable dickhead the entire season, and he's going to want to get out of Dallas unless they finally come around, Stephen Jones and his daddy, to give him a long-term deal. Another coffee break. Tremendous coffee segments this morning because of Cottonmouth, because the Penguins lost. They made me get Cottonmouth because they lost. That's how mad I was watching that hockey game last night. Ving Rhames, the great actor, collapses in an LA restaurant. I have no idea what happened. Just having Ving Rhames go down at like a nice spot, nice restaurant like a Dan Tana's. I don't know where it happened, but he collapsed in a restaurant. Can't be good. After weeks on life support, Live Golf now knows that the Saudis are pulling their money and they're finished giving them any cash. Live Golf is finished. It's toast. It's over. Now all the guys that took all the millions to play there are begging the PGA Tour to take them back, and the PGA Tour are being cunts about it. One of the world's most prolific cocaine dealers has been caught. There was a $10 million US dollars award for this guy to be caught, and he was caught in San Diego. Eugenio Dario Molina Lopez, 61, my age, also known as Dan Dario or Molis, is alleged to be the leader of Los Huistas, a drug trafficking organization and based in Guatemala near the Mexican border. He pled not guilty yesterday in court. The arrest is tied to the Operations Guerrilla Unit, a multi-year investigation led by the Homeland Security and federal prosecutors in San Diego and law enforcement partners in Guatemala and Mexico got him. They targeted him, a high-level cocaine supplier operating across several countries. Cartel leaders don't get it right at the end of their stories, said the top prosecutor in SoCal. Los Huistas is responsible for large-scale coke shipments across international borders, one of the most prolific cocaine traffickers on the planet. He was originally charged in 2019 with conspiracy to distribute coke intended for the U.S. and conspiracy to distribute coke on a vessel. In 22, the State Department ordered $10 million if anyone could catch him. And now he's facing life in prison. I always love these stories. El Chapo, this guy. It doesn't matter. Anything where there's cartels and drugs and violence and chaos. They're hanging people off bridges, cutting their heads off. Anyway, speaking of drugs, the map has come out by Newsweek describing the worst drug addiction states in the country. And I'll just save you a lot of time. New Mexico was the #1 state with drug addiction. That was it. And then Arkansas and Alaska round out the top 3. There's more junkies in those 3 states than anywhere. The Hawks are embarrassed by what's going on. A trusted financial executive, Lester Jones Jr., turns out he was a liar, manipulator, and a thief. He stole in 3 years $3.8 million during the bulk of his 9-year run. He was there 9 years, and over a 3-year period stole almost $4 million. And now he's going to jail. He lied his way into the job, into the accounting and finance department after being fired from Home Depot for submitting tens of thousands of dollars in false employee expense reimbursement requests. He denies that he was fired from Home Depot. He's a liar. Just a manipulator, blah, blah, blah. They caught him. He's toast. He's finished. Good story, though. He had a nice run getting almost $4 million out of the Hawks. Now they got to play the Knicks tonight down there. Pelican center DeAndre Jordan is the teammate of the year. They come up with some silly-ass awards, don't they? Here's your top draft class for 27 in terms of quarterbacks. Julian Sayin at Ohio State, Dante Moore, Oregon, Arch Manning, Texas, Drew Messmaker, Oklahoma State, CJ Carr at Notre Dame, Sam Levitt now at LSU, Darian Mensah at Miami, Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss, Brendan Sorsby at Texas Tech. If he gets over his gambling addiction and rehab that he's in right now, and Lenora Sellers at South Carolina. Big quarterback class in the 27 draft in D.C. TJ Otzelberger, the coach at Iowa State, the great college basketball coach, has agreed to a 10-year contract extension. Is going to pay him at least $6 million a year. UConn and Duke are agreeing to meet in a neutral site game on Thanksgiving Eve in Las Vegas in College Rack. Steph Curry had an auction for his sneakers. A total of 81 pairs of his used sneakers that he wore in NBA games were up for auction, with the top individual bids for those shoes reaching $121,600. The auction earned $1,721,728 for people buying his game-worn shoes. That's crazy. A wrestling fan who went missing during WrestleMania in Vegas was found dead. A section of Angels Stadium has been closed off due to rodent poop. What a lovely thought. Make sure you keep an eye out for the Profits, Max Profit plays, and any plays that he puts up in the community. Keep an eye out for my Elites and Profit plays. 4-2 again last night, and 9 of the last 12 Elites have cashed for you. We've been killing it in both Elites, Profit plays, and Max Profit plays like crazy. Tell your friends that everybody's making money on Profitable.com. Let's do it again on a Thursday. Check out. Ooh.